WCOP!
This is a special WCOP report from Berlin, brought to you by European Engineering, 295 Propeller Road, Belmont, your Saab dealer. And now here's WCOP newsman George Berkeley in Berlin.
Another American victory from the Cold War's #1 battlefront, Berlin. It happened this morning when an American automobile, escorted by 3 jeeps filled with soldiers, drove through the east-west checkpoint at Friedrichstrasse and was not stopped by East German police. The incident was purposely planned to demonstrate American insistence that anyone in a car bearing U.S. government license plates can drive anywhere in Berlin without having to identify himself to the East Berlin police. It is only a technical point, since we do not challenge the right of the Russians to check the identity of such people in their sector, only the right of the East Germans to do so. This morning's incident had been in the works for at least 24 hours. All told, some 2 American civilians and 12 soldiers made the crossing, with additional soldiers standing by just in case. This is George Berkeley reporting from Berlin for the Saab dealers of Greater Boston. Now back to WCOP in Boston.
From Sweden and Europe's largest manufacturer of jet aircraft comes SAAB Saab, a flight into the future of automotive design.
The new Saab, the economy car with all the answers. See the Saab from Sweden. SAAB Saab. Distinctively different, nothing can surpass it. Safety, style, economy, the Saab. Drive tomorrow's car today. Choose the Saab to be precise. Driving is ever so nice. In a Saab, 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 drive a Saab.
Lincoln, airman aid in search for woman missing from bloodstained home. Cape Canaveral, missile detector works perfectly in test. Berlin, East and West Berlin police exchange tear gas barrage. This is Jack Swan in WCOP Action Alert. I'll have details of these stories and all the news in 15 minutes at 8:25.
1150 WCOP.
Coming October 25th, House of Fright. A spine-tingling tale of evil you'll never forget. House of Fright, starring Paul Massey and Dawn Adams. See House of Fright in color and megascope, plus the sensational Black Pit of Dr. M. Opening Wednesday, October 25th at the Paramount Theater, Boston.
Russians touch off another nuclear explosion. Good morning, this is Jack Swan with WCOP Electronic News, brought to you by Kennedy's Butter and Egg Store, Uppsala, Sweden. The Seismological Institution in Uppsala, Sweden, says the Soviet Union has triggered another nuclear explosion in the Arctic testing grounds. A spokesman says the test was made in the atmosphere and was only 1/10 of the strength of last Monday's extensive blast. Berlin. American military police early today escorted an American automobile through the Friedrichstrasse checkpoint into East Berlin after it had been barred earlier by communist East German border guards. The MPs rode in 3 jeeps, 1 in front and 2 behind the car, which carried 2 Americans in civilian clothes. They were not identified. The armed Americans were backed up by 10 tanks and 2 armored personnel carriers. When the car first was barred from entering East Berlin because its occupants would not show their identification papers, it turned to West Berlin. A short time later, it reappeared with its heavily armed escort, and there was no opposition. Cape Canaveral. The new spy-in-the-sky Midas satellite last night successfully detected a giant Titan missile less than 2 minutes after the 90-foot rocket was launched from Cape Canaveral. Midas, fired into orbit itself 3 days ago, is part of a system designed to eventually warn the U.S. up to 30 minutes before an attack. New York. Russia's explosion of a huge nuclear bomb on Monday has created mass condemnation of the Soviet Union. WCOP contacted UN Ambassador Adlai Stevenson for his comments.
It seems to me that this makes a mockery of the familiar communist refrain about peaceful coexistence in the world. The Russians have tried to reduce the United Nations to impotence, and now they are expressing their contempt for the peaceful sensibilities of all mankind. I think perhaps they detonated exactly when they had it scheduled to detonate, regardless of any considerations with the United Nations or anyone else.
When you see news in the making, call WCOP Action Alert at Volunteer 2-6300 and qualify for cash awards.
WCOP salutes Frank E. Farnham, named Director of Financial Relations by Raytheon Company of Lexington.
shop at Kennedy's Butter and Egg Store in your own neighborhood. 'Cause Kennedy's dairy products are so good, good, good. You get courteous, friendly service. We want that understood. Yes, everything at Kennedy's is good, 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 good.
When you bring home the bacon, make it Kennedy's Grade A sugar-cured bacon. Ah, there's a big difference, you know. Kennedy's bacon is sliced fresh the day you get it to protect all its sweet, smoky flavor. Yet, it's priced 10 to 15% below many national brands. Now, this week, Kennedy's bacon is specially featured at only 59 cents a pound. Save also on Kennedy's new mild cheese at 49 cents a pound. Kennedy's fresh, local, medium-size eggs, only 47 cents a dozen. At Kennedy poultry stores, fresh chicken legs, only 49 cents a pound. At Kennedy delicatessen stores, imported pressed ham, sliced fresh, 49 cents a half pound. Featured all this week at your local Kennedy Butter and Egg Store.
Lincoln, a stunned executive, returned from a convention today to learn that his pretty young wife mysteriously vanished from their fashionable Lincoln home, leaving behind signs of a bloody struggle. 32-year-old Martin Risch, an officer of the Fitchburg Paper Company, was in New York City yesterday when an intruder apparently seized his 31-year-old wife Joan in the kitchen of their suburban white frame house. Police said their 2-year-old son Douglas was sleeping upstairs and another child, 4-year-old Lillian, was playing with neighborhood children when Mrs. Risch disappeared. After Risch arrived in Boston, he told state police that his wife would have fought like a tiger to defend her children. Though officials could find no eyewitnesses to a kidnap, they said a trail of blood indicated the woman was forced out the back door and taken away in a waiting car. Police said robbery seemed to be an unlikely motive since all other rooms in the home, except the kitchen, were undisturbed. There was blood on the kitchen walls and the telephone had been ripped out. Police said the Risches moved to Lincoln from Ridgefield, Connecticut 7 months ago. Providence. A Somerville man is scheduled to appear in federal court in Providence November 1st for sentencing in connection with a Rhode Island bank holdup last March 23rd. 25-year-old John H. Taylor was found guilty of armed robbery yesterday by a federal jury for his part in the robbery of $34,000 from the Industrial National Bank's Hoxie branch in Warwick. Another Massachusetts man, 24-year-old Kenneth R. Hudson of Cambridge, changed an innocent plea to guilty yesterday to a separate indictment, charging him with participating in the bank holdup. U.S. District Court Judge Edward W. Day imposed a 12-year sentence on him. A third man, 30-year-old Henry I. Horton of Boston, was sentenced to 16 years in federal court in Hartford, Connecticut, June 26, after pleading guilty to his part in the robbery. Pembroke, New Hampshire. A 57-year-old Wayland, Massachusetts man has been found shot to death in Pembroke, and officials have ruled it a suicide. The body of Anthony G. Babbitt was found in his quarters yesterday. He had rented a cabin on Monday. Police said he had bought a .32 caliber pistol in Alton Bay prior to renting the cabin. The WCOP weatherscope for Boston and vicinity, sunny and warmer today with a high in the low 60s. Fair tonight with little change in temperature. The low temperature will be in the lower 40s. Fair and warmer tomorrow. The present Boston temperature, 42 degrees, humidity, 84%. Next high tide in Boston at 12:53 this afternoon. That's all the news. Jack Swan reporting for Kennedy's Butter and Egg Store from Radio Boston, WCOP.
Do you like a mystery that's marrow-chilling? Is your favorite film fare the thrillers, the chillers, filled with eerie sounds and strange creatures? If you love a mystery, then The Late Show all this week is a must-viewing for you. For chills, for thrills, be tuned to Channel 7 nightly at 11:15 for not one, but two shock and double shock features.
Basil Rathbone, Boris Karloff, and Bela Lugosi open tonight's double shocker with Son of Frankenstein, followed by The Cat Creeps, starring Paul Kelly and Noah Barry Jr. on WNAC TV starting at 11:15.
11:50 WC.